Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of MTE's Mobile Education Series powered by the Rag Company. Today we have a great presentation by Mike Phillips teaching us about some glass polish and taking the scratches out. Looks really great, but before we get there, I want to take a second to thank the Rag Company for their sponsorship and their help in making this happen. So thank you again, Rag Company. And don't forget, we have one of these educational videos every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern right here on Facebook or YouTube. And so now, as I mentioned, it is Mike Phillips. I'm going to bring in Mike. And let me unmute you. Hold on. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Now there's Mike. So Mike, what are we going to learn today?
Well, first of all, I just like to thank the Rag Company also, and I just happen to have their For the Win glass towels here. And to be honest, I use these for glass and also compound polishes and even coatings. They're great towels. Today, I'm going to show you how to fix scratches, or actually remove scratches out of glass. Now, there's two ways to do this. There's break the windshield with the hammer way, then call someone like Safety Light and have them replace it. Or there's the other option, and that is to polish them out. Before we get started, though, I kind of want to cover a couple different topics because there's some confusion over this. Yancey and I have made a number of videos, and I've written multiple articles on how to do this. And one of the most common comments that we get when it comes to actually removing scratches, or these are wiper marks, this also has swirls in the glass.
Do you want to show that?
I can show that, and that's probably...
What'd you do with the light?
What did I do with my light? I lost my light.
Well, we'll go ahead. And
You'll find the light. But the swirls probably came from people using steel wool to clean the glass, which is a big no-no. But one of the misconceptions out there is a lot of people think any brand of compound for paint correction, so a compound to remove swirls or scratches out of paint can be used on glass. And that's simply not true. I've been doing this for probably 15 years now, easy. And removing scratches. I've been polishing glass for over 30 years. And compounds for paint will work to remove road film, drizzle stains, any kind of water spots that are on the glass, but they won't remove defects that are in the glass. And that's why the terms I use are topical glass polishing and subsurface glass polishing. So I just wanted to make that very clear. And there's just seems to be a lot of confusion. And I have yet to ever have anybody show me a product made for car paint remove actual scratches, swirls, and spots that are in the glass and take them out. So I'll just leave that there. Yancey, let's go ahead and we'll show the swirl aspect. So besides these wiper marks that you can clearly see here, there are also swirls. Am I holding that in the right place?
Yep, I got it.
Okay, so the swirls like you see in car paint. And this is another misconception. A lot of people recommend using steel wool to clean glass. And here's something to consider. Steel scratches glass. In my entire life, I've never used steel wool to clean glass. Instead, I use products that were meant to be used on these types of surfaces.
Let me get that in there. All right.
Okay, so
I'm on the products if you want to talk about the products.
Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to talk about the different ways to clean glass. Here's a glass cleaner. I'm going to explain the limits of a glass cleaner. This is a dedicated water spot remover. Now, this stuff is really good for cleaning defects or films that are on the glass but not in the glass. This is a product from CarPro called Ceraglass. This contains a mineral called cerium oxide. It's specifically meant to abrade glass, to level it without leaving its own scratch pattern behind. And that's very important. And then I'm going to show how to use a two-part glass coating to lock that clarity in and to make the wipers clean anytime you're driving over like 30 miles an hour. Real popular now is glass coatings. So anyway, so that's the basic system I'm going to show here. Now, again, before we get started, I also want to kind of point out that this is a 1957 Corvette. Now, another comment I see all the time, goes back to people say, hey, that's too much work to fix the glass. Just take it and have the glass replaced. Well, that's a good idea for, say, a 2015 Honda four-door Accord. But a lot of times when people have cars like this, they don't want to remove or replace the original glass because that ruins the authenticity of the car. They also don't want to remove the glass because no self-respecting car guy, once he pulls that glass out and sees rust or cancer, is going to put a new glass window in and not address the cancer. So a lot of times on these classic cars, when you remove the windshield, you find rust and cancer. And what started out as a glass replacement project turns into a body off, rotisserie, full restoration that's going to take years and thousands of dollars. So, you can skin this cat any way you want to. But what I want to do today is just show people how to polish glass to remove the swirls and scratches and wiper marks. Now, first, I want to talk about glass cleaner. I know a lot of detailers out there don't understand that when you're driving your car in the rain, a lot of times you get a buildup on the paint and on any exterior surface called road film. Over in Europe, they call it traffic film. But what this is anytime you see a parking space in a parking lot, in the center of the space, you can see where cars drip fluids. Motor oil, transmission fluid, power steering fluid, radiator fluid, and these things build up in that spot. But if you drive down the road, a long straight road on a dry day, you'll notice the center of the road also is darker. That's from cars dripping these fluids as they're being driven down the road.
I have your article up, by the way.
So you can see a picture of that from an article I wrote called Road Film. It's called Road Film. If you drive in the rain, your car has it. You can Google that. But the point being is, when it rains, the rainwater mixes with this dirty oily mixture, and it washes up onto your car from the cars driving in front of you. And when you do this over and over again, this dirty, oily water creates a film that impacts onto the paint. It's called road film, traffic film, or paint staining. It also builds up on the glass. And you're not going to get it off by just wiping it with this stuff. So you need to machine polish the glass if you're a professional detailer, just to make sure it's off. Now, I started detailing cars in Oregon back in the 1970s. Gosh, I really hate to date myself like that. But one of the things I found out in Oregon was obviously it rains a lot. And a lot of my customers, when they bring me a car, the paint has water spots, but so does the glass. And as a self-respecting detailer, you cannot just fix the paint and give a customer back a beautiful car with shiny paint, but water spots still on the glass. So I trained myself right away to always polish the glass. And I'd always do this before washing the car. So you do the windshield, the side glass, the back glass. Then when you wash the car, all that slurry gets washed off in the wash process. You save some steps. You don't want to be doing that after you wash the car. You're going to make everything all messy. You'll get compound and polish splatter down in the tracks and the fuzzy gaskets, things like that. So that's how I got started in glass polishing, was topical glass polishing to remove water spots. So when you give a customer back a car, the paint's shiny and the glass is shiny. Where was I going with that? The first thing you do.
First thing you do.
Yeah, removing topical stains. So I'm going to go ahead and show you just real quickly by demonstration that a product or anybody's compound, it's not going to remove the wiper marks, but it will remove that road film we talked about. Anything that's impacted onto the glass, just like things impact onto the paint.
And once you let them know how you can hear that, so that way we can show the before and after.
Sure. Let me get my microphone that's on my lapel here down here. So.
Okay, I heard it.
Can you hear that? Yeah. So, there's a little bit of a road film on this. This is actually a daily driver. It's not a garage queen. And for the guys that always say anything will work, here's an aggressive foam pad, rotary buffer. Let me shake this up really well.
Is it closed?
That's the beauty of live. The lid's halfway open. So, okay. Put some of this on here. Okay, there's a good amount on there. And I love this product. Almost all my cars I use this on if I'm not doing this type of glass polishing. It'll chew any film off there. Okay.
And this is your topical, right?
This is just for topical glass polishing. Okay, and I could do this all day. It's not going to work. Okay, and then the reason why is because glass is really hard. But it will remove any kind of film off the surface of the glass and make the glass shiny. Okay, now, there you go, see?
Put your light back on there if you could, please.
Sure. Let me get rid of that towel.
All right, yep, see, everything's still there. What you see in yellow is the swirls that are up on top of the glass. Then come back towards me, there you go. And the swipe, you can actually see the wiper marks and so forth. So, I mean, yeah. All right, now do the sound thing.
Okay.
So that way it shows that it removes something, but not the scratch.
Let me get my lapel down here.
Hear the difference?
Nothing. And it feels smooth. Okay, it feels silky smooth because I peeled everything that was on there off. That's called topical glass polishing. Every self-respecting detailer, this should be part of your detail package, no matter what it is, because it's just going to ensure the glass is clean so it is as beautiful and clear as the paint when you're done with it.
And wouldn't that also help the water repel off of it while you're driving if it's raining?
Well, of course, it'll keep it clean, but also if you're ever going to use any kind of coating, even a simple product like Rain-X, it's going to be able to bond better to the glass if you get it clean first using a topical glass polish. Now, something else I want to point out is glass polishing is very messy. This is a water-based product. I'm using a rotary. You can use any orbital if you want to. Rotary is the fastest way because it's a direct drive tool that spins in a circle. It's just the most powerful tool for paint correction, but also for glass polishing. These are cover-up towels. You could use a blanket or a beach towel. And normally, I would take and I would cover up this car really well, because once I get these splatter dots on the paint, to come back and wipe them off or wash them off, I would risk grinding that material into the paint and potentially scratching it, and that's the last thing I want to do because that's just the nature of a detailer.
I have your article up.
Okay, and I have an article that shows this is actually a car that Yancey's showing you that had chemical fallout, which put pits, tiny pits in the glass. And we have no idea how it happened, but I machine polished all those pits out. So the thing about pits is they can't be really deep or you'll have to take a lot of material off. These were very shallow. I'm not going to tape this off because I want to show what happens if you don't cover it up. But I would encourage anybody that's going to do glass polishing to either do it before you wash the car, or if the car is, you're not going to do any paint correction, then cover the car up with cover-up towels, beach towels, blankets, anything.
I have that up. So that you definitely want to paint, cover everything up like I was showing right there.
There you go. Okay, so I think I hope I've stressed enough that for all those guys out there that think any compound will take scratches out of glass, it ain't going to happen. Even if you use like a microfiber pad and a paint compound, it's just not going to happen. Okay, so now let's switch over to the Ceraglass. Now, to use the Ceraglass, this is really important. A couple things, you got to keep this in mind. If a company makes a glass polish and they make a pad, you want to buy that as a system. It's just a bad idea. You want to reduce any variables you can to have a mistake happen. A mistake is the thing that you bought to remove scratches actually put scratches in. Because if the stuff you've bought to take scratches out is putting scratches in, you're screwed because you don't have anything else, okay? So if a company makes a system, buy the system. Don't cheap out and try to use someone's polish with someone else's pad. Get the system. And CarPro offers this in 5-inch and 3-inch pads. And the smaller pads really do come in handy if you want to get into tight areas, okay? Like down here into the corner. See that? So the small pads, and plus you can put a more focused amount of braiding power to a smaller area if you just want to do spot detailing. Okay, now besides the pad, you need an interface pad. This is a Griot's Garage Interflex pad. What it is, it's a Velcro on both sides, loop and hook with a foam core.
Tilt it down just a little bit.
Like that?
Yep, there you go.
And this is an Abralon. So Abralon sells 3-inch sanding discs, and they sell a 3-inch interface pad. Okay, and the reason you want to do this is because the surface of your backing plate is hard, and these discs are very thin, so they're hard. And the truth of it is you're going to be buffing for hours, and you want to try to smooth that out, because a hard pad and a hard backing plate on a hard piece of glass is not going to be very smooth, and it's going to want to be kind of chattery, kind of want to jump around on you. So just by simply adding a foam interface pad in there is going to smooth out the process that you feel, but it's also going to help to keep that face of that pad flat against the glass, because the glass obviously is curved. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just take and I'm going to line this up. This is something else you can do. This is a flexible backing plate. We sell these here at Autogeek. You know, some backing plates are hard, some are flexible. I recommend getting the flexible ones, and there's a lot of different options out there. So line this up as perfect as you can get it. That's not perfect.
Wah, 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 wah.
Much better. Okay, then attach your rayon pad. This is what this is a rayon glass polishing pad. Okay, now we're ready to start glass polishing. And again, I'm going to hate myself for this, but I'm not going to cover this up because we're going to detail this car anyway. But I just want you to see how much splatter ends up all over the car.
Show you why you want to do something.
Yeah, okay. So the next thing you want to do is you want to take and you want to shake this up really well. Sometimes I wish every product that we use in the detailing world came in clear bottles, you could see things separate out. But my guess is the cerium oxide abrasives, if this sits for any length of time, tend to settle towards the bottom in this emulsion. So just shaking it is going to make sure you have a uniform emulsion so you get the fastest results possible. Okay. Go ahead and put some of this onto the pad. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to buff. Now we've got a fairly deep wiper mark here. We've got some pits up here that I can guarantee you probably will never come out. Then we got some lighter scuffing up here, and we got some more scuffing up here from, obviously at some point the wiper rubber blade wore out and the metal arm drug across there. I'm just going to focus on this part right here. And I don't want to bore you guys to death because this can be like watching paint dry or water boil, but polishing glass is hard work because glass is hard. And let me kind of give you an example of also another thing that's a factor with this. Sorry about that, Yancey.
I'm following you.
When we're polishing paint, we're either holding the polisher onto a horizontal surface like this, or we're doing a door or a fender and we're pushing away from us on a vertical panel like this. Windshields are curved. What that means is you're going to have to brace your legs to support your body. You're going to put this at an angle and then buff for hours. And it's a lot harder to actually push down at an angle for an extended period of time than it is a horizontal surface or a vertical surface. So that's one of the things that makes this really difficult. Okay, so Yancey, are you ready for me to start buffing?
I was born ready.
Okay, and then I will stop periodically and add more abrasive technology onto here. So slow speed to start with. Okay, now I'm gonna push hard.
All right, and I'm going to drop his volume down because that's just loud.
Thanks.
You guys go ahead and banter. Time me though, okay? Tell me it's 10 minutes.
Oh, I can put a timer on you. Hold on. Hopefully I have this on my camera. There we go. Let me edit that timer. There we go. Now we got a timer going.
All right.
All right. So, I mean, it's a pretty step forward process. It's just a lengthy process.
Yeah, Mike was saying it just wears you out, and just you got to keep going at it, or you won't have the right results. Isn't that what he was kind of saying before we were starting all this?
I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, no, I mean, it does. I mean, it is, the physical part is harder than the actual technique part of it, I would say. But yes, I mean, Mike and I, we always get these, actually, let me bring myself instead of I'm being a talking head from the nether.
There you go.
We always get it on our videos that we have where people are like, oh, I could just use a wool pad with compound, or we can use a foam pad with compound. That's great for getting the above surface stuff off. But when it comes to actually getting the nice deep scratches from wipers down below, you have to abrade that glass off, and pads and foam pads and wool pads are not strong enough or thick enough or has enough cut to do that. So now, is there anything about temperature, Mike, that you need to discuss about this?
It's usually because there's this plastic interface between two sheets of glass here. It's usually not a good idea to get this super hot. So you always should be able to put your hand on it. And I have this article called The Fight or Flight Method of Gauging Surface Temperature. You can Google that and pull it right up. And when you put your hand on a surface, if you can continue to hold a conversation, it's not too hot. If you put your hand on the surface and you go, ow, that's too hot. Okay, let me get back to work here.
All right, I'm getting you in there. All right, drop him back down. I'll come back on. But no, I mean, this is something I think most people probably don't understand is this technique would be after those classic cars, you know, where people want to maintain the value of the car. And, you know, just like Mike said, you know, you open that up and it could be a can of worms underneath that glass. And, you know, next thing you know, you're explaining to your wife the reason why you're spending umpteen thousands of dollars on your car.
$1,000 project just turned into 40,000.
Say what?
$1,000 project to clean the glasses to turn into $40,000 frame off.
But no, I mean, it's, you know, for the newer modern cars, yeah, it might be easier to get a safe life, but you know, it is. And Mike, you're at 7 minutes, 20 seconds.
We just had a question come in. I don't know if Mike can hear us, but do you use a water spray to cool and help?
That, yes, you can. But what we're doing here is like in our other videos, we do show where I was helping him, I was missing it. And that will help keep the water down, keep the lubricity of the, you know, the surface. But Mike was wanting to show just how much of this could be. And plus he didn't want to go home with being white from here down because it does fling all over. But yes, Thomas Kirby, you can use water to help keep the temperature down. Or another technique that you could do is you could have like a wet rag, a wet microfiber or something like that, and occasionally put it on top. So that way just like a damp one. So that way it'll keep the heat down just a little bit. They're talking about water.
Mike getting tired.
Mike getting tired. You're only at 6 minutes and 30 seconds.
Oh, man. Mike getting tired.
All right, let's bring him in there. But, you know, it is a technique that I think every detailer should know on how to do that, because could come across one day and, you know, somebody has an old Jaguar that, you know, they can't find the windshield for it and has a little scratch, and you can fix it. So
yeah, you don't want to be the guy that can do everything else on the car and then stuck with leaving the glass for someone else.
Right.
Another thing you want to be able to do is be able to talk intelligently to a customer. So if they bring you a car with wiper marks, you can say, yes, it can be fixed, but I charge separately for that. Okay. It isn't thrown into the detail. This is looking pretty good over here, guys.
Yeah, you're 5 minutes, 30 seconds. All right, let's bring him back down. But I mean, you can actually see where he's been on there, and you can see the scratches are coming out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let me get me out of there, and I will bring him in.
Yeah, I'll drop myself down.
Yeah, you can see that slowly disappearing. Get a good focus.
I'm going to call that good, just because you can visually see what I've done here.
Oh, well, yeah, that's what I was just getting in there. I was zooming in on it. You're at 4 minutes and 51 seconds left, slagger.
No doubt.
Slagger. All right.
Okay. Can you show everybody the mess I'm making everywhere here?
Oh, I can definitely show that.
This is why you cover everything up.
Yeah, that is why, people. It does make a mess. But we'll get him.
Okay. Get some off the trim here.
We got another question that came in. How deep can these scratches be to be removed safely with this method?
That'll be a judgment call for everybody. I've taken out some pretty deep isolated scratches in my life. You have to decide, you want to replace the glass or take the scratch out. So it's just you can go deep is a relative term when it comes to glass. So how about this? Not very deep. If you drag your finger and your fingernail drops into it, that's probably too deep. But that's usually not the case with glass. It's not like paint, which is softer. So when something slides across it, it puts a deep scratch in it. Most of the glass stuff, scratches and swirls, is fairly top, it's on the surface, not super deep. Yancey, can you see the difference?
Do you want to get the light out?
I will. I just want to make sure there's no smudges here so no one confuses anything. Okay.
You're breathing heavy, old man.
Okay, let's see. Okay, here we go.
All right. I'm seeing where the bottom one is. Okay.
Okay, here's the bottom one.
All right.
And here is, well, it's gone, the top one.
Yeah. I wish I had an instant replay. We could turn around and show it.
You can still see part of it right here. Up here is pretty much gone.
Yeah.
As I come around this curve, it just gets a little harder on camera to do this. But
Yeah.
All this is just a little bit more work, completely gone.
Okay, but hold on. Move your light. Okay, that distance. Now move it up. But now you can see that the swirl marks and everything are not as bad as, if you scroll down, go down, as they are but down in there. See, that's where, it's definitely a major improvement. And then,
a little bit huge improvement.
Then if you'd have went the full 10 minutes, then, it'd have been totally perfect.
Yeah. So the big picture is this process works. All you got to do is put the time and effort into it to polish it out. That video that we made a couple months ago, we used a young man that works here. His name is Michael. We used this a Toyota Camry, right? Yeah. We only did a little section down the middle of the window, and he went home with all this stuff and finished the entire window out. I went and looked at it. It looks like a brand new window. So here's a young man that really wanted to get his glass clear. He invested the time to do it, and he got it done. So anyway, so that's it. And then, of course, then you can see all the polish splatter here. Can you get out there? Shall I move this?
Yeah, you can move that just a little bit.
Look what happened. See that?
It's all over.
It's all over the place.
The hood.
It's actually, there's some on the steering column here.
Oh, way to go.
Yeah, I rolled the window up to keep it from getting into the inside of here, but I can see it on the steering column.
But that's the reason why you cover up.
Yeah. Now, Yancey, what I'd like to do is go ahead and show the glass coating. But if I can I go to the other side?
You got jokes.
Too much work for camera. Okay. Well, let me go ahead and let me go ahead and just wipe the rest of this windshield off here of all the splatter dots.
I see that there's a couple questions in here. Richard, Mike, a couple weeks ago, you polished the rear window on an Alfa Romeo, which I believe had a plastic window. Can you let me know what chemical product and polisher you used? Sure.
By the way, I got your email on that, and I'm really good about getting back to people in all different types of social media, especially email. Problem is, I've just been slammed with writing new product reviews. And but believe it or not, what he's talking about is a 1994 Alfa Romeo with a flexible plastic back window. In the boat world, they call that isinglass. It's the same type material. Believe it or not, I used the Pinnacle Advanced Compound with a Buff and Shine maroon foam cutting pad on a Porter cable. And then I switched over to the yellow Buff and Shine Eurotech foam polishing pad with the Pinnacle Advanced finishing polish. And then I sealed it with another product called the Pinnacle Black Label leather vinyl coating, which most people wouldn't think to use on plastic, but it works amazing. So those three products made that piece of flexible black window almost perfect. Okay, so now if we just go back, remember I removed the scratches here, but I haven't actually polished this whole thing with a topical glass polish to prepare it for a coating. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I think most of the manufacturers of glass coatings, they recommend that you do this by hand or machine, because in order to use the coating, you really need that glass surface clean so it can make a proper bond. I tend to like to do everything I can by machine because, well, here at Autogeek, we don't sell hands.
Well, you're part machine.
I am part machine. And so anyway, so let me just go ahead and knock that out. But it is true. Look, even if you have a brand new car, I mean, I have people all say, hey, my car's brand new. Do I still got to polish the glass? Well, that car probably sat on a truck carrier, a train, a ship, and then it sat in a parking lot. It got all the air pollution. There's no such thing as perfectly clean glass. That's why you want to machine polish it. Okay, so let me hit this real quick.
I'm going to drop him down. I don't think you guys want to listen to a polisher run.
Okay, and it doesn't take much, at least with this product. I mean, this thing's fairly abrasive. Here, I'll let you into a little secret. You know, over the years, I've met a lot of people at car shows, and a lot of times I'll be standing there demonstrating on black paint. I'll make it look ugly, then I'll make it look beautiful, then I'll make it look ugly, then I'll make it look beautiful. That's kind of what I do for a living. And when I get to the part where I want to make the black paint look ugly, I won't show people what I'm using, but I'll grab this because this is not paint safe. It's for glass, and it will scour the hell out of paint. And then it looks ugly. So now I can take and make it look beautiful. And
liquid sandpaper.
Well, it's what you do at a car show, though, because, you know, at a car show, you know, I've went to SEMA for 16 or 17 years in a row, demonstrating on black paint the entire time I'm there. And you have a group of people walk by, and you want to show them your stuff, so you need something that looks ugly. You make it look good, then they walk by. Now your paint looks good, you got to make it look ugly. So you need a way to quickly make it look ugly in a way that you know you can fix every single time, and this works pretty good for that. That's a little insider secret on how I make paint look bad. One of my friends in the industry, what he does is he'll take whatever polisher he's using and he'll pull the pad off of it and just use the Velcro on the backing plate and run that over the paint. And that works pretty good too, but not as good as the dedicated glass polish for glass. Okay, so now I've got this completely machine polished and clean. Oh God, this looks horrible. What's my motto, Yancey?
Not my car.
It's not my car. Okay, then what I'm going to show you now is this is a new glass coating. A lot of these are on the market, are real good. Just I always tell people, pick an established brand. This is a panel wipe, so I'm going to go ahead and even though I use a glass cleaner, you know, it's important to be able to make that proper bond. So I'm going to go ahead and look how many of these for the window rag shop glass towels I'm going through. I love these things. Okay, so use a dedicated panel wipe. Ensure that's completely clean. There's no residual polish oils that are going to interfere with a proper bond. Okay. Let me move my generic glass cleaner out of the way. And this is a two-part system.
All right, I'll zoom in on it.
Okay, let me get the labels right. Part 1, part 2. How's that?
That's perfect.
Okay, and it comes with one applicator. So the idea being is you use one side for part 1, the other side for part 2. It doesn't matter which one.
A visual cue.
A visual indicator.
Ooh, indicator. Big word.
And this is kind of the secret. After you've got the glass prepped, and this kind of throws some people, I'll go ahead and put some of this on
Can
there.
you tilt that down so I can see how much you put on?
Oh, I have a bunch of drops here.
Okay.
Okay, because you want this coating to stay rather wet. You're going to put the other coating right over the top of it quickly. So they're going to kind of, I think the word is meld, not weld, but meld together. They're going to become one. But what this does is this seals all the pores of the glass, and it makes the strong bond. Okay, so that's what this first product does, is it bonds to the glass. And then this next product is what creates the hydrophobic surface. So this is as the protection. You don't want to let this dry, so put this on instantly. Just come right back over it.
Then do a few section passes?
Yeah, I tend to at least do 4 crosshatch patterns with just about any coating. I know some people tend to overdo their applications, so you don't want to get caught up in going nuts, but the idea here is just to be uniform. You know, uniform coverage for uniform protection and longevity. Okay, so here's my last pass. And then you don't wait any time at all. Go ahead and take a clean microfiber towel and then give that the final wipe. And there you've just coated that glass. And they say this protection will last up to 1 year. And then along the way, periodically you may want to put part 2 back on again to just reinvigorate that hydrophobic surface so the water just flies off.
Now, what would be some of the benefits of, what do you call it, using a coating instead of just like a spray detail or something on your glass?
Well, the coating is going to create the hydrophobic surface that actually bonds to the glass, so it's meant for it. And then it's going to clear. And it usually takes about 30 miles an hour. Water just flies off the windshield. But also, if you use your wipers, it'll clear more instantly, so it's safer at nighttime.
Okay.
Driving, safer driving. And that's kind of it. You know, that's as you can still see, I still got a pretty good sized wiper mark right here. But here's the good news. This is one of the cars for my big 3-day detailing class coming up. There's another car there, another car there. There's more cars coming out. You're running about 14 to 16 cars through my 3-day class. And what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to position this in the center of the garage, cover it all up like it should have been. And then I let each one of my students take a turn at polishing glass. And by the time all the students cycle through, it'll all be done. And the owner is going to like it. So that way I don't got to finish the job, but everybody else gets that hands-on training that people love about the classes we teach here. Right. Sheldon, what do you think of all that?
That looks pretty good. Someone did ask to see if did the scratch improve at all, the one that was left with the coating on it? Is it any less noticeable?
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit. Which question are you on?
Oh, it was the Thomas Kirby the coating over the lower wiper scratch. Will that be improved?
One second, Sheldon.
Am I breaking up?
Yeah, I'm having a little bit of a
feedback problem. Can we just turn that speaker off and I'll listen carefully?
You'll listen carefully. All right, here. How about I'll just go down. Thomas let's see here. Ryan, a couple questions. One, is the glass on a classic car different than a modern, say, 2000 plus car? Two, is there a hard and soft glass like hard and soft paint?
Okay, and I am not an expert on glass, and here's my guess. It's just like the iPhone I originally bought is different from the iPhone I could buy today. Technology is always changing. I don't know how much glass technology changes, but I'm confident there is changes in that. I recently spoke to someone that works in a glass company, and he says as far as like the things I'm showing here, there isn't no problem between an old car and a new car. Glass is glass. Car manufacturers got to make something that wipers can rub against. So that's why they don't put any coatings on them really from the factory, that at least that I know of. And then there's a plastic membrane that goes in between. This is actually 2 sheets. It's safety glass. So if you're in an accident, the glass sticks to this membrane instead of flying into your face or someone's eyes. And so there is this membrane there. And I'm sure there's also been improvements in technology since 1957 in that membrane technology, just like everything is improved. But the practical application difference for what we're going to do, there would be no difference.
Okay.
Good question, by the way.
We have Thomas Kirby. How does the rotary leave hologram? Does the rotary leave holograms like arm paint?
Good question. And that's something that it's really hard for me to actually wrap my brain around, because we all know if you take something like this and you buff out car paint, this is going to leave holograms, or what I call a hologram scratch pattern, because that's what holograms are. They're scratches in a pattern in the paint. But I've never seen it in the glass. So the only thing I can come up with is it's a function of the glass itself and the abrasive technology, where it's just not as sensitive to show those kind of defects. Now, it could be possible, because I've seen some pretty powerful scopes out there. If you were to put a scope on here, maybe you'd see something, but at nighttime driving, that's when you would see it. When the street lights are hitting it, you'd see something. Nothing. So okay. I wouldn't hesitate.
All right, that actually ties into another question. Old Atari Gamer. I love that name. Absolutely love it. Old Atari 2600. Is there a second step to better clarity, especially at night?
Well, if you do this right, you don't get any more clear. I mean, once it goes clear, it's clear. You can't get more clear. I buffed on this for 6 minutes?
Yeah.
And that's, to be honest, it's kind of awkward to try to hold this here and do the angle. If we weren't filming this, I'd stand with my back facing that way and I could really throw some weight behind that thing. So I just didn't want to keep buffing and buffing and buffing. It's like watching paint dry. But for the 5 minutes I got, the point is you can get this thing perfectly clear. Once it's clear, there's no such thing as more clear. But good question.
And he comes back in again, Old Atari Gamer. I've done this with the same products, but with them I've left with, I guess you may consider cornrows or holograms that can be seen at night when light hits the windshield.
All I can say is I've never experienced that. So you always got to work clean, okay? And if you're using, I've just never experienced that with the Ceraglass pad and the Ceraglass product. And I always shake up my stuff really well, but I also work clean.
Maybe isn't working it long enough.
Maybe I don't know. There could be some variables, but this is where it'd always be great if the person that had that problem could bring their car right here and we could work on it together. Okay. So hey, if you're local, drive on in.
Okay, and he just asked really quick, what was the pad again? What was the name of the pad?
Well, these are Car Pro rayon glass polishing pads. They got the red back, and I'm going to stress this again because I'm not saying this isn't true for him, but I personally have put scratches in glass by using one company's polish and another company's pad, and it did not work. Okay, so that's where I learned through experience. If a company makes a polish and they make a pad, buy them both together as a system. Don't be mishmashing things together, because if it doesn't work and you try it, you're going to end up with a defect in the paint that you can't remove because the things that you bought didn't work. You know, unless you've got multiple products and multiple pads and you're just kind of into this kind of thing. And here's something else that's real important. If you've never polished glass, and even if you have, never experiment or start on the driver's side, okay? If something goes wrong, you just created a dangerous situation for the driver. If something goes wrong over here, you know, hey, you can still drive the car and you can overcome that, you know. Find me, ask questions, I'll help you through it. But never start on the driver's side. Always start on a passenger side.
Okay, and then there's two of them in here.
You can do this to side glass too. You know, a couple years ago, we had a 67 Camaro here, and the passenger window had all these straight line scratches in it from something rubbing on it when the window went up and down. And again, I cycled a class of 20 people through there. By the time that class was over, all the scratches were gone.
Okay, Kirby comes in again. Actually, the coating over the lower wiper scratch will be interesting to see if it improves or hides the scratch. You know? No,
it's not going to be that. It's not going to be that much of a visual effect.
Let's see.
You can still see it.
Yeah, well, it helps if I put a focus on it. But
want me to give you a finger to focus on?
No, I got it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's still there. I mean, it's not really hiding anything. It's not burying it.
No, the way to take that out is polishing.
All right. Old time again, maybe not long enough. Said thanks to you. And Matt Cecil, would you approach glass scratches on the side, on the inside the same? Any recommendations?
Oh
to
my
get
gosh,
the
do I got a story? Okay, so one time I was hired to polish this. I think it was like a 1987 Ferrari 328 GTS or
Magnum
GTI.
PI.
It's kind of like a Magnum PI Ferrari. So I detailed the whole thing. It was single stage, by the way, back then. And when I was all done, I wanted to take my beauty shots, you know, look how great the car looks. And I went to take my shots, and there was smudges on the inside of the glass. Now, I wasn't hired to detail the interior, but I couldn't take my beauty shots and have these ugly smudges. So I went in there to just wipe it down. And my wife had just bought me a brand new wristwatch with a metal clasp band, which being brand new, you know, there's no wear. It had very sharp edges, and I didn't take it off. That was my mistake. I made a couple wipes. And I started looking at the glass. I was going, wow, that one streak won't go away. And I started wiping. It wasn't a streak. It was a scratch that I put in. I was at an offsite location. I came down here. I grabbed a 3-inch pad like this, some of these little guys like this, and I got so lucky that there was just enough room to get the Flex PE14 in between the steering wheel and the window and work that scratch out. And it took me about an hour to get it out of there. So anytime you're working on glass, look, I got no jewelry on, no watches. If you watch all my videos nowadays, I never have anything like that on. Take everything off. But yeah, you can do the same thing, inside, outside of glass. So you bet.
Okay.
If you're working on anybody's car on the inside and they have a tint on there, of course, you can't fix that unless you take the tint off. So
I think that's about it on the questions.
Well,
Shelby?
I'm good, Sheldon.
All right. Can you hear me at all?
Yep, we can hear you now.
Okay. Well, Mike and Yancey, thank you very much for this session today. That was really informative and awesome to watch. And I hope we had quite a few viewers, so I hope everyone got a little takeaway from that and to add to their business.
And it'll live forever on YouTube.
Yep. And yep, it'll be posted immediately after this and on Facebook. So thanks again for coming out, everyone. Mike, I'm going to drop you down, but so long, and we'll catch up soon. Hopefully in Vegas, or I might catch you in Kentucky even as well if you're going down to that.
I'll be teaching glass polishing in Kentucky.
Perfect. I'll see you there.
We have 2 more sessions coming up.
Yes, you have one in 2 weeks, I believe it is.
Yep. I have one on high-speed production detailing, and I think wet sanding, machine wet sanding.
Machine wet sanding. All right. Well, all right. Well, thanks, Mike. I'm going to drop you down here.
Okay.
All right. So, yeah, hope you all enjoyed that. Again, we are here every Thursday. I did put up there that Mobile Tech Expo Las Vegas registration is open now. If you use code LIVE15, you can save 15% on that. So coming up next week, 6 p.m. Eastern time, what do we have? We have one next week? I thought we had one next week. Sorry about that. I can't seem to find it on our website. So Chris, if you're watching this, you need to update that. Oh, here it is. It's Jody Cedric. He is going to be teaching us some great stuff, probably marketing related. So again, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. You'll get our notifications. And keep leaving your questions here, and Mike will probably reply to you, as time goes on.